Euromaxx highlights. Coming up on the show, new novel, the latest by world-renowned science fiction writer Frank Schätzing, is called Limit. Top taste, the Rosin has been voted the best restaurant in Germany. Special showing, the most extensive exhibition of paintings by Claude Monet in Germany starts on Sunday. Euromaxx highlights. And here's your host, Karen Helmstedt.
Greetings and welcome to our Highlights edition. And we're starting off in gay Paris, where the city's most famous cabaret, the Moulin Rouge, just celebrated its 120th anniversary. Best known as the birthplace of the French can-can, it has featured many notable performers over the years, including dancer La Goulue and singers Josephine Baker, Edith Piaf, Liza Minnelli and even Elton John. Well, on the eve of a milestone birthday, we went to see how they keep pulling in the crowds.
Welcome to the Moulin Rouge, famous for the windmill on its roof and 60 can-can dancers. They strut their stuff twice a day, all year round, and they know exactly what audiences want to see.
The whole thing was a great experience, you know, once in a lifetime.
The whole thing, it was amazing.
Yeah.
It was amazing. Absolutely brilliant, gorgeous, beautiful, beautiful people.
The dancing was just so wonderful. It really was. It was worth the price of our whole trip.
The current show is called Ferie. It features 1,000 handmade costumes decorated with feathers, rhinestones, and sequins. The dancers, known as the Doris girls, have to conform to a strict set of rules. The average height is 1.77 meters, and no one is allowed to be more than 2 centimeters taller or shorter than this. The girls also need to be trained classical ballerinas, like Esmeralda, who's been performing here for the past year.
This place is famous the world over. With such a reputation, it's a privilege to be able to take part in its 120th anniversary celebrations. It really is. The dancers in the revue are part of its success. Every evening is a new challenge. We always have to do our best to ensure that the show is a special event.
When the theatre first opened on October 6, 1889, it was popular with artists such as Henri de Toulouse-Lautrec, who also painted the venue's posters. These days, many of them are world-famous images and feature in a collection of other historic pictures which the Moulin Rouge has published to mark its 120th anniversary.
Our guests will celebrate our 120th anniversary with us by receiving a free copy of this book. It's a history of the Moulin Rouge in pictures. Many of them have never been published before. They come from our own archives.
The dancers might make it all look effortless, but a lot of hard work goes into every performance. Backstage, Esmeralda is warming up for the most demanding part of her act, the can-can.
The can-can was invented here in the Moulin Rouge. It's the basis of its fame. People come here from all over the world to see us dance to French can-can.
The Moulin Rouge. Paris nightlife wouldn't be the same without it. To some, it's old hat. To others, it's the last word in risque fun.
Happy birthday, Moulin Rouge! Woo!
Bottoms up. Well, Frank Schätzing from Cologne started out in advertising as a formulator of short, sexy slogans, but these days he's the author of 1,000-page bestsellers, all of them meticulously researched. A master of sci-fi scenarios that feel like prophecy, his international breakthrough came back in 2004 with the environmental thriller The Swarm. Well, happily for his fans, his latest book, entitled Limit, hit the shelves in Germany this week.
The future has arrived in Frank Schätzing's new novel, Limit. The book is a sci-fi thriller about a substance that's supposed to solve all of humankind's energy problems. It took 3 years for the author from Cologne to finish the book. In this one, the plot revolves around the moon and space.
I'm basically fascinated by unknown places. It was the same with the deep sea. In other words, those places that man doesn't know so well. You can let your imagination go, and I really like that.
Bookstores have purchased Limit literally by the crate. The first print run amounts to 400,000 copies for the German-speaking market alone, and it's already being translated. Not only readers, but bookstores too are eagerly awaiting the latest gem from Schätzing.
We're assuming the new novel by Frank Schätzing will be a bestseller because all his others have been, and customers have been asking about it all the time. There's also been a lot written about it in the press. We've ordered a huge number.
Schätzing's first book was published in 1995. It was a historical novel called Death and the Devil. The political thriller Lautlos, or Without a Sound, followed in 2000. His 2004 novel Der Schwarm was published in English as The Swarm, a novel of the deep, and was his most successful work to date. The book has sold 4 million copies in the German language alone and has been translated into 27 others.
At some point, you become a brand name. That's what certainly should happen to an author, because then you're successful. In that moment that the brand is more than the sum of its parts. It's when people say it's a book by so-and-so and I'll buy it, without even waiting for a review.
The Swarm placed Schätzing in the league of great international thriller writers, a genre dominated by Americans.
It's almost impossible for German detective fiction or thriller writers to get their work translated in the United States. They say, we've got enough of our own. We have the best thriller writers and the best detective fiction writers, so why should we add a German writer? And I sometimes have to pinch myself because it's worked out, and I tell myself, hey, you've made it in the States.
The new novel is set in 2025. Large quantities of a substance called helium-3 are discovered on the moon. It's a natural resource that could solve the Earth's energy problems. A race unfolds to seize control of it. The protagonists are a tall group of billionaires on their way to the moon, and a melancholic detective searching for a Chinese dissident. Science journalist Ralph Nestler has carefully examined the 1,300-page text. Limit isn't just exciting, it also playfully imparts specialist knowledge.
Schätzing made a real effort not to turn natural laws upside down. He obviously did extensive research prior to writing the book. Apart from a few exceptions, the things he envisions for the future are, as far as I can judge, all correct.
Repeating a success like The Swarm can certainly put a lot of pressure on someone. But the media-savvy author takes it all in his stride.
I think that the whole media circus will get worse. It started in September. But I'm relaxed because my show is completed. I've finished the book. It's there. And from now on, I'll just be talking, answering questions, and being celebrated. That's nice.
Next year, Frank Schätzing will do a German book tour and live up to his other self-image as an entertainer.
Well, speaking of entertainment, there's no shortage of restaurants in Germany sporting 3 Michelin stars. Therefore, it might come as something of a surprise that the Feinschmecker, that's Germany's most respected gourmet magazine, chose a 1-star establishment as its restaurant of the year. The Rosin in Dorsten, just north of Düsseldorf, now holds the honor, and according to the jury, it won them over with Chef Frank Rosin's artful presentation and, of course, taste with a capital T.
The bland exterior contrasts sharply with the culinary fireworks guests enjoy inside the restaurant of the year. Frank Rosin and his team love to experiment.
We are mad about cooking. We will try anything. At the same time, we are pretty sensible people. However original or stylish or modern our creations, we never forget that in the end, they have to taste good.
Delightful tastes and aromas matched by the presentation. Lobster cocktail with summer salad, sautéed melon and woodruff ice cream. Goose liver with cassis, rose aroma and fruit bread. The dishes are almost too beautiful to eat. Rosin developed his passion for cooking at an early age.
My father was the first wholesaler and entrepreneur in Germany to market French fries. You could say he introduced them here. I used to go out on the delivery rounds, so as a child, I got to know all the restaurants and their kitchen entrances, at least in North Rhine-Westphalia. And it was magical for me. I was fascinated, and I still am.
Frank Rosin started an apprenticeship as chef in 1982. Then he traveled and worked in Spain and the US. He opened the Rosin restaurant in 1990. The business concept includes profit sharing. All staff members take a share of the profits, and new ideas are dreamed up together as a team.
The point is to make clear to our guests that we really think about and care about what we do. We don't just throw things into a cookpot and that's it. We think about the food we cook the whole time.
Frank Rosin also has a fine wine cellar, 600 vintages, including some extremely rare ones. Susanne Spieß is the sommelier in charge of the cellar.
We categorize the wines in our own special way, not by countries, which is the usual way, but by styles. Fruity dry Rieslings, for example, or Rieslings with a strong mineral note. Aromatic, fragrant white wines, such as Sauvignon and Gewürztraminer.
A specialty at Rosin are Schmackofatzes.
My grandmother used to make us schmackofatzes, yummy and filling little dishes I used to swipe from her kitchen.
Here, you don't have to steal them. 5 are served with every menu. There are 70 different kinds. This is strawberries with basil noodles. A panel of judges cited Schmackofatzes as one reason to declare Rosin Restaurant of the Year.
It is fantastic to receive an award from an independent body such as Feinschmecker magazine. What an honor, not just for me, but for the entire team, because it is a team award. It reflects the fact that we work together in such a unique way.
Rosin has put Dorsten firmly on the gourmet map, and anyone who has dined there might just want to ask for seconds.
Well, through the ages, many a fashion designer has taken their inspiration from the theatre or the ballet stage, where opulent costumes are perfect food for fantasy. Well, German designers Thomas Lempertz and Friedemann Vogel do much the same, but they do it with a very special twist, or even a pirouette. As professional dancers themselves in Stuttgart, their own experience is the inspiration for an exclusive fashion label that pushes all the right buttons.
When Friedemann Vogel is seeking inspiration for a new collection, he doesn't sketch, he dances. He first started ballet as a 6-year-old, and even then he was fascinated by the costumes. Today he's a world-class ballet dancer and also a fashion designer. The two go together as the stage inspires his collections. To him, clothes allow the wearer to slip into a role and become someone else. That's the philosophy at the heart of the business he runs with his partner, Thomas Lempertz.
Our art and our background in theater is what gives us our energy and the ideas for the pieces we design. And we see it as more art than fashion. We consider what we do to be a form of art.
Friedemann and Thomas founded Goldknopf 2 years ago. Thomas was 28 and principal soloist at the Stuttgart Ballet. But he was ready to leave and embark on a new career. That's when he and his longtime partner discovered a shared love of buttons.
We've been customers here for some time and always thought it was intriguing. It felt mysterious, like it was full of secrets waiting to be discovered. But then the store was going to shut down. And at that point, I wasn't doing anything. So I decided at the last minute to take over the store with you.
So we just threw ourselves into the button trade.
They soon expanded into fashion, incorporating their passion for buttons into designs. Like this bolero jacket made entirely of linen buttons. Lempertz and Vogel come up with the ideas, and a professional seamstress does the rest. They want their clothes to be timeless, so the designers don't take their cues from current fashions. Most of their inspiration comes from their experience as professional dancers.
After a performance, I'm always very wound up from being on stage, and normally we can't sleep, so that's when we work, which is also when we usually come up with the best ideas.
Friedemann and Thomas design outfits that are feminine, glamorous, but wearable. Like many fashion designers, they have a muse, ballerina Renee Wright, who dances with the Stuttgart Ballet. She's a huge fan of Goldknopf and is happy to help promote it. These days, Goldknopf is fast gaining an international reputation.
Now the label is known all over the world. We have customers in Japan, Russia, and across Europe.
It's funny because we have some very young clients, but also older ones, and even some very old ones. We have a real cross-section. We love that. It would be a shame if we only designed for one particular age group.
Goldknopf clothes are for people who want to feel special, so they don't come cheap. A skirt costs around 300 euros, while a dress will set you back around 1,000 euros. The two designers like to keep their fashion lines small for exclusive clients. That way, they still have plenty of time left for dancing.
The Von-Der-Heydt Museum of Art in Wuppertal might not be the biggest of its kind here in Germany, but it's without a doubt one of the most ambitious. And its latest coup is a comprehensive exhibition of paintings by French impressionist Claude Monet that includes works from his entire artistic oeuvre. It's the first of its kind here in Germany, and that made for some very challenging logistics.
Transporting valuable works of art like this one is an enormous undertaking. New York's Metropolitan Museum of Art has sent a courier to Wuppertal to oversee the operation right up until the moment the painting is hung on the wall. That's when we were allowed to film. But this expert is not allowed to talk about the logistics of the transport or even the special temperature-controlled storage facility, let alone discuss the painting's condition. It's all top secret.
Obviously, it's very exciting. But I've been doing this job for almost 20 years, and I don't get as nervous as I used to. Of course, Claude Monet is very special indeed because it's very valuable. And an exhibition of Monet on this scale has virtually never been possible before.
For the next 4.5 months, responsibility for the painting rests with the Von-Der-Heydt Museum. The exhibition features some 100 paintings by the French impressionist, including 30 water lilies. This is the first ever retrospective of Monet in Germany, and quite an accomplishment because galleries don't usually like to lend their collections.
We were very fortunate because from the outset the Musée Marmottan Monet had promised to lend us 30 water lilies. I was able to talk to the museum's director, and it wasn't too hard to persuade him to lend us some more Monet paintings from the Musée Marmottan Monet, because in return we lent Paris our expressionists. It was much harder to get the other paintings. I traveled around France and Switzerland persuading the various museum directors to lend me the paintings they had.
In the end, 35 museums from all over the world agreed. Restorer Andreas Igelhaut checks the surface of each painting in minute detail, looking for tears in the canvas or spots where paint has peeled or crumbled. He'll repeat the process every week for the duration of the exhibition. It's an especially important procedure in the case of paintings that are showing their age.
A few days ago, I noticed that a small piece of the frame had broken off and was lying in the box. It's very convenient when you have the tools to fix that sort of thing on the spot and are able to put the fragment back where it belongs. Then it doesn't get lost, and you're not left with a gaping hole.
It's taken 2 years to put together the exhibition. The information panels are being installed in the basement of the museum, while upstairs, the last painting is being hung on the wall, the second one on loan from New York's Metropolitan Museum. Public anticipation is already growing. Many tours have already been booked for the most comprehensive exhibition of Monet's works ever seen in Germany.
Well, given the pastel colour schemes in Monet's impressionist masterpieces, it's clear that brown was not the sexiest blend on his palette. But according to the 21st Century Colour Barometer, brown is right up there, symbolising things like warmth, calm, coziness, and even tradition. As such, it has quietly taken over as the new fall colour, and it's showing up in places that we might least have expected.
Suddenly, it's everywhere. The Audi R8 sports car, the classic Porsche 911, even the Mercedes S-Class. The colour brown, long off limits in the car world, is back. And it's here at this Berlin car dealership. BMW has issued a special X1 SUV in brown. The exact colour is called Marrakesh Brown Metallic, and it's being branded as the symbol of the new model.
In my opinion, this Marrakesh Brown Metallic is the color of the BMW X1. Certain colors are always associated with certain cars. When you hear the word race car, you think of red. And I think at some point very soon, the X1 will be associated with Marrakesh Brown Metallic.
Cars in chocolate tones, and customers are eating it up. 30,000 brown vehicles were sold in Germany in the first 6 months of 2009 alone, 3 times as many as in the previous year. Brown is back in fashion. Colour expert Professor Axel Fenn sees brown as an expression of new modesty and a return to nature.
Brown is an earthy color. Brown doesn't help so much to reveal something. Rather, it covers things up. It's not the kind of color that sends a distinctly glamorous signal. Instead, it's a color that conceals things, that mimics things.
At Galerie Lafayette, a luxury store in Berlin, the motto is subtlety, especially in the cosmetics department. Companies have developed dozens of new brown tones that are bestsellers here at the makeup counter.
Brown is always a trendy color. Brown is the most beautiful color there is. It's very natural, it's elegant around the eyes, and you can wear whatever you want. Turquoise, black, anything goes.
Axel Fenn also chose to furnish his office in brown. For him, the colour is reminiscent of a man's study, coffee and cigars.
Brown is an archaic color. It relates to solid materials. You can hold it in your hand. You can't hold the color pink. It's too fluffy. Brown is substantial. It has a material orientation. And it conjures up the idea of sustainability and solid substance. And that's something we men like.
Brown is also in again in the fashion world. Men can put away their pink shirts and bring out the brown, just in time for fall. Brown, a comfortable colour for comfortable living.
And on that comfortable note, one more quick reminder that you can find our highlights on YouTube, should you like to have a look at anything in review. With that, it's time for us to wrap up. So until we meet again, all the best and auf Wiedersehen.